What's up, bros? We got UFC Sacramento, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez versus Gregory Robocop Rodrigues. This is going to be my full card picks and predictions video. I'm going to be breaking down every single fight on the card, starting with the first fight of the night, working my way all the way up to the top of the card. Go ahead and leave a like on the video if you can. It would help your boy out, but let's go ahead and get right into it with the first fight of the night. We got a ladies fight with Shanelle Dyer and Elise Reed. Now, this is not a fair matchup. Shanelle Dyer is going to absolutely smoke Elise Reed. This fight is not going to be close. Shanelle Dyer is just Elise Reed's completely outgunned here, honestly. I don't think this fight's going to be competitive whatsoever. Elise Reed, she's just not as athletic, not as fast, not as big, not as powerful. Dyer has every single advantage possible that you could think of when it comes to, winning a fucking fist fight, which is why she's a minus 650 favorite. So yeah, I just see Shanelle Dyer picking Elise Reed apart, most likely getting a knockout here. I don't see Elise having much success outside of just trying to panic wrestle and pray to God she gets Shanelle down. But Shanelle Dyer, just in every aspect of athleticism, is just better here. Bigger, faster, stronger. She's going to smoke Elise Reed. This shouldn't be close. And Shanelle Dyer is going to keep moving her way up to the UFC as a ladies prospect to look out for at strawweight. Moving along, we've got Jackson McVey versus Wes Schultz. This one is hard to call because both guys are extremely weak, where the other one, is strong. In the sense that Jackson McVey has very weak wrestling and grappling. Wes Schultz has very weak striking. And Wes Schultz isn't really that great at wrestling because he was getting completely out wrestled in his last fight against Ben Johnston. So this is just a very low level fight in the UFC with two guys that, don't have much potential inside the promotion. Like, neither one of these guys is going to be ranked in the top 15. They're just kind of like middle of the road guys. And you can just see that based on, their performances. Jackson McVey, looked good on the feet against Zach Reese, ended up getting taken down, fucked up on the ground. Was dealt with by Bruno Ferreira quickly and easily. Wes Schultz knocked out by Damian Pines quickly and easily. Barely beat Ben Johnston, a guy that was like on a 2-3 year layoff from MMA. So yeah, man, I mean, these fights are always the hardest ones to call in my opinion, but I'm going to be leaning towards Jackson McVey. I do like the way he looked against Zach Reese on the feet, even in a loss. He does seem to be the more dangerous guy of the two in regards of finishing potential. He also got finished by Wes Schultz back on the amateur scene, which would definitely light a fire under him here to get this win. So I'm leaning Jackson McVey via knockout because he's the more dangerous striker. Who knows? He might get taken down and submitted, but I'm going to be going with the guy Jackson McVey. Like I said, low-level fight. It's hard to really rely on either guy here. Up next, we've got Gage Young versus Stan Dorsainvil. Stan Dorsainvil, he has a typical bullying style. He's coming forward, throwing lots of pressure, or throwing lots of volume, lots of pressure, good grappling. He's taking this fight on short notice. So I think that will, affect his ability to implement his typical game plan, which is lots of forward pressure, lots of volume, lots of grappling, wrestling, clinching up against the cage, going for takedowns, trying to get submissions. Gage Young, he was preparing for Cody Steele, another good grappler. So it's not like he was training for a striker and now all of a sudden he's getting a good grappler. So he was training for a grappler and he's getting a grappler. So I think Gage Young, Stan Dorsainvil is also kind of has pillow hands. He swings big, swings wide, hits people with solid shots, but he doesn't really like drop anybody. He doesn't put people down. So I think, and the guys that he's been fighting are relatively low level. I think that Gage Young will have the punching power to make Stan Dorsainvil pay for his over-aggressive style. All the other guys were just not able to get him off of them, with his bullying style. I think that Gage Young will have the punching power and the technique to hurt Stan as he's rushing forward. I don't know if Stan's going to be able to get any kind of rhythm on Gage Young. But yeah, I'm going with Gage Young here to beat Stan Dorsainvil. I don't think that his bullying pressure style is going to work against someone like Gage Young, who does have solid UFC experience, well-rounded, good takedown defense, decent striking, overall just a jack of all trades type mixed martial artist here in Gage Young. And he's the guy he's coming in off of a full camp. So Stan does have that 76-inch reach, that 6-inch reach advantage, but I don't know, man. I think Gage Young should be clean enough technically to find a way around that, land his jab, land the straight hand down the middle, rip him apart with the calf kicks. I like Gage Young here, most likely by a decision here to give the undefeated Stan Dorsainvil his first loss here. Now, Márcio Barbosa versus Ryan Kuse. Sweet fucking Jesus. This is some pretty fucked up matchmaking here because Kuse literally has zero chance. He's going to get fucking slaughtered by Márcio Barbosa, who's an absolute fucking demon. Nasty, powerful Muay Thai, insane power. I don't know why the UFC decided to give him someone worse than the person he made his debut against in Dennis Buzukia, who at least had some UFC fights. But yeah, Márcio Barbosa, it is what it is. Márcio Barbosa is going to get another sick highlight reel knockout over a guy who hasn't really fought anyone good at all. And you got to feel for Ryan Kuse here, honestly. He's going to get fucked up, and this fight won't be competitive in the slightest. I watched a little bit of tape on him. Nothing really too impressive from Ryan Kuse. Decent, well-rounded guy who hasn't fought anybody good, and Barbosa's a fucking monster. The UFC's like, hey, kid, welcome to the promotion. Go fucking die in the cage. See you later. We'll send some flowers to your family. So Márcio Barbosa, first round slime out. The Third Street Savage is going to be fucking sent back to Third Street in a box, unfortunately, for poor little Ryan Kuse here. But yeah, moving along, we've got Nasrat Haqparast versus Chris Taco Padilla. The pick for me here is going to be Chris Padilla, even though this is an even money fight. I'm pretty confident in Padilla to get the job done here. Nasrat does have solid boxing, good technique, solid footwork, and he does have higher level experience in the UFC. But overall, he's just kind of one-dimensional with decent power. He prefers to box mostly, but he was utilizing a good amount of kicks against Esteban Ribovics. Nasrat is a southpaw. And I don't know, man. Shit, let me see here. Yeah, my notes had some wonky shit in there, but I'm back on track. Yeah, Chris Padilla, much more versatile striking game, has a lot more weapons that he likes to utilize outside of just boxing like Nasrat Haqparast. He has a good front kick to the body, good cardio, applies pressure well, uses a good high guard that he should be able to keep himself safe against a lot of the punches from Nasrat Haqparast. Good calf kick, good elbows in the clinch, decent boxing in his own right. And I see Chris most likely winning a decision here, just outworking Nasrat, out-voluming him, lots of forward pressure. Nasrat did look pretty solid against Esteban Ribovics, which is an impressive win. He ended up getting that split decision, but I could say you could give Nasrat rounds 1 and 2. A lot of people called it a robbery, but watching it back, it was very close. You could give Nasrat round 2. I wouldn't necessarily call it a robbery. It was a very close fight. But yeah, Chris Padilla over Nasrat Haqparast. Let's go ahead and keep continuing the taco train. Let's go. Now we've got Shamil Gaziev versus Kennedy and Nzechukwu. This fight, fucking dude. This fight is just between two low IQ heavyweights. Kennedy and Nzechukwu is as stupid as Shamil Gaziev looks. So between these two rock-brained heavyweights, I'm going to pick the guy with a speed advantage, which is Kennedy and Nzechukwu. I think that he'll eventually be able to find big shots on Shamil Gaziev. He's just the faster of the two. But fuck, man, I wouldn't rely on either one of these guys, bro. Like, Kennedy and Nzechukwu makes stupid fucking decisions in the cage. He rocks Marcus Buchecha, and instead of keeping it on the feet or letting him stand back up or going for ground and pound, he starts to grapple with the fucking world-class jiu-jitsu specialist. I don't know. Kennedy's just kind of a fucking retard, and you can just look at Shamil Gaziev and it's like, you can fucking tell this guy's not the sharpest tool in the shed. But I'm going with Kennedy and Nzechukwu. I like his speed. I like his power. Both guys are powerful. But yeah, I like Kennedy because I feel like he is the faster guy moving up from light heavyweight. And it's not like he's a small guy either. He's frame-wise, I guess height and length, he's longer than Gaziev. Gaziev is the wider. Shamil the Blob Gaziev is the wider of the two. But I'm going to go with Kennedy. I think that he'll be able to find some big shots on Shamil and potentially get him out of there. But yeah, up next, we've got Jamall Emmers versus Lerryan Douglas. The pick here is going to be Lerryan Douglas by KO. He was very impressive in his UFC debut against a vet in Julian Erosa. Douglas made Erosa look like he didn't even belong in there with him. So, and I rate Erosa honestly higher than I do Jamall Emmers. Jamall Emmers looked pretty good last time out against Hyder Emil. Got a knockout over Gabriel Miranda, but Miranda's a guy that's like hasn't done anything in the UFC. I'm pretty sure he's 0-2. Let me see. Gabriel Miranda in the UFC. He's just a jiu-jitsu guy. Couldn't get his game going. Yeah. Well, he has one win over Shane Young in the UFC, whoever the fuck that is. But, yeah, man. Gabriel Miranda got fucked up by Jamall Emmers. Jamall Emmers got knocked out by Nate Landwehr. Went to war with him. And it's just, I don't know, man. Like, Lerryan Douglas hits like a fucking truck. Very sharp striking. Good calf kick. Nasty fucking boxing, very accurate and powerful with his punches. And it's just Jamall Emmers is just up against it here. I don't think that he's going to be able to utilize the same kind of heavy wrestling, grappling game plan that he used against Hyder Emil. Lerryan Douglas is pretty well rounded, good defensively on the ground. And yeah, man, I think that he's going to find a big shot on Jamall Emmers, put him out, potentially a round 1 knockout. Maybe round 2 because he is relatively patient. But I'm liking Douglas by KO. I think Douglas Barbosa KO definitely hits. You could put fucking Barbosa KO, Douglas KO, Wint KO, all that shit's hitting. So yeah, we're going with Lerryan Douglas to smoke Jamall Emmers. Now we've got Anthony Wint versus Terrance Chatman. Anthony Wint is the new killer here at heavyweight. He's going to be running through these fat bums based on sheer athleticism alone. Look at this guy. He's built like a fucking bag of milk. Anthony Wint looks like he's fucking taking every single steroid in the cabinet. And yeah, man, Anthony Wint, he's fast, explosive, fucking eats steroids for breakfast. He's going to fuck up this fat idiot, and he's just going to make it look easy. But first round knockout, lock, easy call. Just like, bro, it's like when you put these guys like Gable Steveson, Brando Perisic, Josh Hokett, Anthony Wint, Rebellis to Spain, when you just put them against like these fat fucking obese dudes off the regional scene, these fat dudes just can't compete. They're not athletes. They're just big guys that just have trained fighting. Like, it's not the same kind of thing as a big ass jacked motherfucker that's actually athletic and can swing with power and is fast and big for his size. He has a fucking athletic frame. He can move quickly. He's like athletic for his size. Like, against these fucking fat dudes that are just fat dudes. The fat dudes are going to get knocked out fucking 99% of the time. So Anthony Wint's going to fucking knock this dude out. Most likely going to be on the feet, potentially take him down, ground and pound him. It's not close. It's just not close. Not competitive. But yeah, it is what it is, bro. Now we've got Carli Judice versus Jeisla Chaves. Carli Judice, she's the sharper striker, better technique, solid kicks, solid punches. Jeisla Chaves probably has a little bit more steam on her shots, a bit more punching power. But Carli Judice does have the technique advantage here. In my opinion, I think that she's going to be able to piece up Jeisla Chaves at range. I could see this being a competitive fight, but I think that Carli Judice will be the one to get the better of the striking exchanges, at least definitely out-voluming Jeisla Chaves. She might take a big shot here or there, but Carli Judice is tough, comes forward, fights with a lot of pressure, very, very high volume, high pace. I like Carli Judice here. I think that she's a pretty solid fighter here in the women's division. I like her. I think she's talented. She did get kind of fucking, she had some issues against Juliana Miller, but Juliana Miller has, shown that her grappling is pretty fucking nasty. And Carli Judice, Jeisla Chaves isn't much of a grappler here. I think Carli Judice, this is going to be a kickboxing match, and I think that she pieces up Jeisla Chaves to a decision here. Jeisla, decent Muay Thai, decent technique. She jiggles around at range. But yeah, we're going Carli Judice here. I think that she should be able to find the better shots and more of them as the fight goes on here. Now we've got MarQuel Mederos versus Mason Jones. I fucking love this fight so much, bro. This is probably my favorite fight on the card, even more so than the main event. Like, MarQuel Mederos versus Mason Jones, inject this shit into my veins. Such a great fight, dude. I'm going to be picking Mason Jones. I'm going to say by decision. By decision, yeah. But the MarQuel Mederos is a super live dog because he's very fucking talented, very skilled. If he's able to keep Mason Jones off of him for 15 minutes, or at least for 10 minutes, and just piece Mason Jones up at range and just stick move, calf kick, stick move, defend the takedowns, keep himself safe on the feet. It's just like Marquel Mederos. Jesus Christ. Marquel Mederos has to have like an Israel Adesanya type performance to beat Mason Jones. You know what I mean? He has to just be completely defensively sound, not take any big shots, just manage the distance perfectly. Like he has to fight like a very, very, very a championship level fight, I feel like, to beat Mason Jones and his pressure style and Mason Jones is a marauder, man. But I don't think that Marquel Mederos, as talented as he is going to be able to do that against Mason Jones here, who, in his last fight against Axel Sola, who's another very talented striker, he was just able to close that distance, bro. He's just such a grinder. Marquel Mederos, good calf kicks, good straight shots, good jab, great footwork, solid athleticism, good takedown defense. Marquel Mederos is a very good fighter. But Mason Jones, I call him the Welsh Justin Gaethje. He's just going to keep applying pressure. He's going to keep coming forward. He's going to keep throwing big fucking shots no matter what he gets hit by. He's going to keep coming forward with the pressure, with the grappling, with the clinching, with every single part of MMA. Mason Jones is going to come forward and try to apply it on Marquel Mederos, and he's just such a fucking dog, bro. I could see Marquel winning round 1, and then Mason Jones is just going to continue to keep coming forward, and he's going to just – the pressure is going to wear on Marquel, and Markel's going to get a little bit, he's going to slow down a bit. Mason Jones is going to start finding him with the shots. He's going to start ripping him to the body. He's going to start ripping him with the calf kicks. He's going to get into the clinch. He's going to hit him with elbows. He's going to hit him with knees. He's going to go for takedowns. And he's just so relentless, dude. He's so fucking relentless. Marquel Mederos might be the better guy technically. He might just be like the prettier striker. Like when he throws his 1-2, it looks better than Mason Jones. When he throws his kicks, they look a little bit faster, snappier, better technique than Mason Jones. But it's just like, bro. Ilia Topuria, I mean, this is like maybe not the best example, but Ilia Topuria, he looks a little bit cleaner than Justin Gaethje when he throws his punches. He looks a little bit more technically sound. But Justin Gaethje just keeps coming forward and applies that pressure and just fucking breaks you. And I feel like Mason Jones is the same kind of fighter as a Justin Gaethje. And I think that he's going to eventually be able to get Marquel tired. And I think that he's going to be able to start to take over in the fight. Marquel is a very live dog, though. He's very talented. If he fights a perfect fight, he keeps Mason Jones at range. He can win. He can win. But I'm going with Mason Jones here. I love this fight. This fight is so fucking good, bro. God damn it. This fight is good. But yeah, moving along. We've got Reinier de Ridder versus Roman Dolidze. I feel like Reinier de Ridder is definitely a lock here, a pick here. He's better than Dolidze on the feet. He's better than Dolidze on the ground. He can just win this fight no matter where it takes place. Yeah, he looked rough against Brendan Allen. He quit. He looked rough against Kyle Bohalio, but Brendan Allen and Kyle Bohalio both fucking smoke Roman Dolidze. Roman Dolidze, 38 years old at this point. He's just a big fucking chunky overhand and wrestling and grappling. And I don't think that he's going to be able to catch Reinier de Ridder with that overhand, but de Ridder is tough. He is durable. That knee up the middle is going to be a problem for Dolidze. He's going to be fucking hitting Dolidze in his hairy ass body. Dolidze is going to be trying to shoot for takedowns. Reinier de Ridder is going to be threatening with chokes. He can out-grapple Dolidze. He's the more talented grappler of the two. And on the feet, I feel like he is a more effective striker. Decent enough Muay Thai, decent enough boxing. I just think that he's technically better than Roman Dolidze. And he's the bigger guy, better technique. This fight is at 205, so Reinier de Ridder is not going to be dealing with that rough weight cut, so he's going to just be more filled out. And yeah, man, I think that Reinier de Ridder, great experience against guys like Brendan Allen, Kyle Bohalio, very, very high-level middleweights. Roman Dolidze, last time out against Christian Leroy Duncan, got fucked up. Christian Leroy Duncan is kind of a liability on the ground, and that's how Roman Dolidze was able to survive. But he doesn't have that same kind of luxury fighting a Reinier de Ridder, who's just absolutely fucking nasty on the ground. So Dolidze, if he gets hurt on the feet, it's not like, okay, let me go to the ground and keep myself safe. It's like, no, let me go to the ground, and Reinier de Ridder's equally as dangerous here, if not more so on the ground than he is on the feet. So I think RDR gets a finish here. Potentially by KO, potentially by submission. But yeah, I'm going with RDR here. I'm very high confidence pick. Now we've got Sergey, the Polar Bear Spivak versus Vitor Petrino. I'm going with Vitor Petrino here. Sergey Spivak did look pretty impressive in his last fight against Ante Dalia. Before that, he lost to Waldo Cortez Acosta, got knocked out by Jailton Almeida. I just think Vitor Petrino, being the more athletic guy, the more powerful guy, the more explosive guy, he's going to eventually be able to find a big shot on Sergey Spivak, who, although did look impressive in his last fight, that was more just Ante Delija looking like shit than and Sergey Spivak having like a surprisingly good striking performance against Ante Delija. But yeah, give me Vitor Petrino. I think that he's eventually going to be able to find a big shot on Sergey Spivak, most likely Vitor Petrino by KO. Petrino had a war with Steven Asplund last time out. You know, those kinds of fights only serve to make you more resilient in the UFC. Sergey Spivak hasn't really shown, like, I'm going to grit through a war. Maybe against Waldo Cortez Acosta, you could consider that fight, you know, kind of a war. But it's like generally, like, he just kind of gets TKO'd. So I don't know. Like, he doesn't, like, it's like Sergey Spivak doesn't get rocked and hurt, and he's like, all right, let me fucking come back and let me, you know, let me mount my offense. I just see Vitor Petrino eventually hurting him with a big left hook, big overhand, big straight punch. And I just don't know if Spivak is going to be able to battle back against Vitor Petrino. And then Vitor Petrino is also well-rounded. He's good on the ground. He has good grappling. Spivak, if he wants to win, he's going to, you know, shoot for takedowns. But Petrino, solid grappling in his own right, so he can't really be exploited there. So yeah, give me Vitor Petrino here, just the more athletic of the two, and I think that he's going to be able to find a big right hand or a big left hook on Spivak here. Now, with the main event, go ahead and leave a like, boys, if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, for watching, all that good stuff. But yeah, we've got Anthony Hernandez versus Gregory Rodrigues, Fluffy versus RoboCop. I think Gregory Rodrigues was a favorite earlier in the week, but now he's switched over to a slight underdog, which I do understand. But the pick for me here is going to be RoboCop. I'm going with Gregory Rodrigues. I think the blueprint is just there for how to beat Fluffy. Attack him to the body. He can take punches to the head all day. He's a tough-ass motherfucker. But to the body, bro, his flabby, soft body, he's weak there. Can't take shots to the body. Gregory Rodrigues needs to blast that body early, and he needs to blast it often. Kicks to the body, punches to the body, straight cross right to the solar plexus, fucking left hooks right to the liver. He needs to attack that body, because if he's just headhunting and he's trying to knock out Anthony Hernandez with punches at the head, that's not going to be a good game plan to win this fight. You know, use the body shots to set up the head shots. You know, of like Anthony Hernandez. He's not fucking invincible. You know what I mean? Like Sean Strickland, after he hurt him to the body, he dropped him with a big uppercut to the head. But you need to hurt him to the body first to, you know, just weaken him, essentially. But yeah, I like RoboCop here. If he can't get Anthony Hernandez out of there, rounds 1, 2, even round 3, Anthony Hernandez is going to take over. As we've seen, Gregory Rodrigues, his cardio does fail him. He's a very heavily muscle-bound guy. Anthony Hernandez is more of a grinder. I don't know if I'm calling these guys Anthony Rodrigues and Gregory Hernandez. Like, I don't know if I'm getting that fucked up, but yeah, Gregory Rodrigues, Anthony Hernandez. But yeah, man, RoboCop, he's just a fucking powerhouse. He hits like a truck. And I think that, you know, his coaches will tell him he's going to be drilling body shots. They're going to be like, all right, listen, bro, we need to fucking hit this dude to his body because he's weak there. That's what we need to go for. That's what we need to find. And I think that Gregory Rodrigues is going to be able to land those body shots on Anthony Hernandez. I think that he hurts him. But like I said, man, if Gregory can't get him out of there in 1, 2, even maybe 3, Anthony Hernandez is going to start to take over. Fluffy's going to start to utilize his game plan. He's going to be clinching him up against the cage. He's going to be shooting for takedowns. He's going to just be outworking, outpacing, outgritting RoboCop. You know, we saw RoboCop's cardio fail him against Jared Cannonier. Anthony Hernandez weaponizes his cardio. We've seen it before against Michel Pereira, against Roman Dolidze, even against a guy like Brendan Allen, who is a high-level fighter. But you know, Anthony Hernandez got hurt to the body against Michel Pereira. He got hurt to the body against Roman Kopylov. He got TKO'd by Kevin Holland with one big knee to the stomach. He got TKO'd by Strickland with a big knee to the midsection. So he's not infallible. You know, he does have that weakness, and my pick is going to be RoboCop. I think that he's going to be able to exploit that weakness of Anthony Hernandez's. If not, you know, he gets ground out. You know, he gets finished later on in the fight, round 4, round 5, maybe even a dominant decision win for Anthony Hernandez if he wins 3, 4, 5. But that first and second round, Anthony Hernandez is going to have to survive it, and I'm going to go ahead and pick Gregory Rodrigues to get him out of there before that. If not, Anthony takes over, and he shows that he's a very high level dog here, and he sends RoboCop back down the rankings. But that's going to be the picks here. Just to run through it again, we got Dyer KO, McVey KO, Young decision, Barbosa KO, Padilla decision, Nzechukwu KO, Douglas KO, Wint KO, Judice decision, Jones decision, DeRitter decision, Petrino KO, Rodrigues KO round 2. No submission calls for me. That's kind of strange. I'd almost never pick submissions, bro. I don't know what to tell you guys, but I usually pick KOs and decisions. Every now and then I'll throw a submission call in there. But yeah, that's what we got for the full card. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments. Let me know how you feel about my picks. Let me know what you're picking. Let me know what you're betting on. Let me know what your lock is. All that good shit. I'll answer you in the comments. Your boy's always active down there. But let me know what you're thinking. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Leave a like, all that good stuff. Peace out. Most recent video on the channel is called Upcoming Bangers. Go ahead and give that a watch if you haven't already. But yeah, peace out, boys. Appreciate you for tuning in, and have a good one. Peace.